A quiet morning at a neighborhood bodega centers on an unseen cashier until a young mother's EBT card fails and the line turns sharp. A parking officer everyone dislikes pays $83.17 out of pocket and delays her route to help, risking a write-up. The moment softens the room and ripples outward in small, steady ways that outlast the day. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, where are you tuning in from? Leave your country in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories reach. The bodega on 7th hummed like a fridge at 7 a.m. The cashier, a quiet man in a faded blue apron, cracked a paper roll of pennies. He tipped them into the drawer, one soft clink at a time. He said good morning twice. No one answered. He wiped the counter with a rag and a circle of spilled sugar stuck to it. The cooler doors fogged from the night's blackout and cleared again. He set coffee lids into a neat stack. He did not look at the clock. He never did. It made the day longer. People came in with damp hair and quiet faces. The rain had been hard before dawn. The floor showed it, a trail of dark shoe prints to the cooler and back. A man in a paint-splattered hoodie grabbed a 12-pack of seltzer and 2 energy bars. A woman in a navy blazer scrolled on her phone and sighed at nothing. A kid in a backpack pressed his face to the glass case with the pastries. The bell rang. The register slid shut, peeped, slid open. The morning did what mornings do. It stacked itself, light on light. A boy in a red hoodie counted oranges as his mother stacked bread and rice on the counter. He whispered numbers, 1 to 9, and then lost his place and started again. His mother pushed a carton of eggs away from the edge with 2 careful fingers. She had damp hair and a sweater too thin for the weather. "We're almost done," she said. A voice meant for him only. She dug in her purse and pulled out a blue EBT card that had a crack by the corner. The cashier reached for the reader and nodded. The reader beeped its dull beep and the line tightened. The paint-splattered man shifted his weight, the cardboard box squeaking against his sweatshirt. "Come on," he said. "Not to anyone." But it landed on everyone. The woman in the blazer exhaled like a hiss. The boy hugged his elbows and looked at his shoes. The mother smiled at the machine like you smile at a sleeping baby. "Try again?" she asked. The cashier cleared the screen and ran it again. Beep. The owner's radio crackled in the back with a wordless burst of static. From the stockroom, the owner rolled out on a squeaky ladder. He did not climb it. He just liked to sit on it like a throne when he felt needed. "If the card doesn't run, we can't hold the line," he said, eyes on the crowd. Next, the mother's cheeks went blotchy. "I can put some back," she said, her hands already moving to the bread. The boy reached for the oranges, then stopped, as if they had turned sharp. "We can come later," someone said behind the paint man. The room pressed in. The fridge's hum got loud. A parking officer stepped in, rain on her cap, writing pad in hand. The chime dinged bright and clueless. The paint man rolled his eyes. "Mater maid," he muttered. The old slur passed down like a bad heirloom. The woman in the blazer cut her gaze away, like trouble had stepped into their photos. The officer shook water from her sleeves without making a mess. She looked like she had slept 5 hours and held to coffee for another hour she knew she wouldn't get. She took in the counter. The oranges. The cracked card. "The boy's ear's going pink," she said. "Put it on mine," like it was nothing. Her voice was normal, not loud, not a flourish. The cashier blinked. The owner opened his mouth and then shut it. "You don't have to," the mother said, almost a whisper. "I know," the officer said. She slid a chipped debit card from a clear sleeve and handed it over. The screen showed $83.17 in square, black numbers. The paint man watched the numbers like he watched the score of a game he had not chosen. The woman in the blazer put her phone down and looked up. The cashier glanced at the officer's badge. He expected a trick, maybe some rule he had missed. There was none. He hit total. The drawer opened, and the pennies he had stacked earlier stared up at him, like little brown eyes. "Do you want a bag?" he asked. The officer shrugged. "They're walking. Give them 2. She looked at the boy. "You counted good," she said. The boy smiled, small. The mother held a bag handle in each hand, like a person steadying herself on a boat. "Thank you," she said, but it was quiet, like it might break. She thumbed a number on the receipt and waited on hold. The EBT helpline played a song that sounded like a shopping cart with a wobbly wheel. She wrote a case number on the back of the receipt and tucked it into the mother's sweater pocket. "Call when you get home," she said. "Sometimes the system freezes on the 1st of the month." She lifted one bag and followed the mother and the boy to the door. The bell chimed them out. Her phone lit with a text, "Where are you?" Maple to 10th is hot. She slid it away and kept walking. The air changed, small and clear, as the door chimed. The paint-splattered man set his box down and picked up a fallen apple that wasn't his. He put it back with care. The woman in the blazer cleared her throat. Softer. "You can go ahead," she told the kid with the backpack. "I'm finishing something." The owner made a noise in his throat that was not agreement, not apology. The cashier wiped the sugar circle until the rag came off clean. No one said wow. No one clapped. People just breathed and made room for each other's elbows. Her phone vibrated with the same insistence as the card reader. She checked it in the doorway. 2 texts stacked like bricks. One from a supervisor. Missed the maple loop. Again. Report to office at 3. One from a sitter. Late fee if past 3:30. She did the math in her head the way some people say a prayer. She did not scroll for an answer that wasn't there. The mother shifted the oranges so the baby in her belly, the part none of them had noticed until then, could breathe easier. The officer looked at her shoes and smiled. They took the bus to 2 stops down. The officer got off and cut back toward Maple, rain easing to a mist. On the corner, a man waved her down and pointed at a delivery van halfway in a crosswalk. "Ticket him," he said. She wrote one without the usual talk, her pen steady, her jaw softer than her uniform. The route had lost its rhythm. She would be docked an hour, maybe more. There wasn't a line she could skip to make it up. She thought about lunch and decided water would be fine. In the cab of the city sedan, she counted the envelopes again. Rent, daycare, dad, gas. They were old-school paper with corners worn round. She slid $20 from gas to daycare and felt the tear in the paper she had taped last week. A flyer for a medical fundraiser lay under the clip on the visor. She didn't look up at it long. She tucked the debit receipt into a pocket with lint and a cough drop. When she started the car, the radio caught a half line of a song she knew, then fuzzed out. That afternoon, the cashier tore a sheet from a spiral notebook. He wrote, in block letters like a kid, "Square up later." He taped it to one corner of the register and slid a pen on a string beside it. He had a start, he figured. Just a line. He did not tell the owner. He did not make an announcement. He rang a lottery ticket for a nurse and a pack of gum for a man with rough hands. When no one was looking, he smoothed the tape down again, like you pat the pocket that holds your last key. The paint-splattered man came back with a folded 10 and a scuffed look. "For the apple," he said, though no one had charged him for it. He jerked his chin toward the door where the officer had stood. "And for earlier," he added, like tugging a heavy word from the ground. The cashier took the bill and pointed at the paper sign. "Put your name," he said, "or don't." The man wrote only M. The 10 went under the drawer so it wouldn't get lost in change. When he left, he held the door for a woman pushing a stroller. A week later, the woman with the blazer caught a crate as a delivery man tripped at the curb. The crate held 12 glass bottles. They clinked like teeth. She squatted in heels without wobbling and set the crate down slow. "You okay?" she asked. The delivery man laughed it off, embarrassed. "Yeah, thanks." She smiled, real this time, not the kind you give a phone. She looked through the window at the counter. The cashier had replaced the sugar, and the oranges sat in a clean pyramid. She went in for coffee and left $2 in the tip jar. The boy in the red hoodie drew a picture of a woman in a blue hat. He used a crayon from the library and pressed hard enough to leave grooves. The hat was like a triangle. The badge was a circle with a scribble in it. In the woman's hands, he drew a bag of round things that could be snowballs or oranges, depending how you feel about winter. His mother folded the paper in half and tucked it into a book. They taped it to a parking meter with one piece of cellophane tape that kept letting go. It stayed anyway. Kindness, it turned out, didn't come with trumpets. It came hushed, like a door closing soft behind you, so the baby doesn't wake. It looked like the cashier counting out change with both hands because he started to care if his fingers shook. It looked like the officer listening more than she spoke when someone yelled about a ticket, and sometimes saying, "Tell me what happened," even though she already knew the code. It looked like the owner walking past the "Square Up Later" sign 3 times, then not taking it down. On the passenger seat, a net bag of oranges glowed in the late sun. They rolled when the car turned, and then settled, warm and quiet. The officer touched one with her knuckles at a red light like you test bread. Down the block, someone argued about a spot. She put her blinker on and breathed once before stepping out. The drawing stayed under her visor clip, a circle badge smudged grey from her thumb. The day wasn't fixed. It was just held together, better than before, by a few small, stubborn knots.